Hello everyone, my name is Boulevard here for GiantSlayerTV to bring you the top 3 decks of Fight Night Legends. In this series, we'll follow along with Fight Night Legends every single week to take a look at top performing decks, popular decks, and decks to keep an eye on. Before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon to stay up to date on all the latest content. And if you're looking to participate in a future Fight Night Legends, you can find a link to do so at giantslayer.tv/LOR. There, you'll fill out a form of some basic information like your name, country of residence, and some information about your previous accomplishments in Legends of Runeterra. While we're always looking to highlight new talent, this is still a competitive tournament. But to break down exactly what this competitive tournament is, Fight Night Legends is an 8-person invitational tournament taking place on Tuesday, Friday, and Monday for Brazil, Europe, and the Americas, respectively. The event runs in the standard Riot Lock format, meaning each player brings 3 decks with no overlapping champions or region combinations, then bans one of the opponent's decks to play a best of 3 in which they must win with their 2 unbanned decks. The event is double elimination, with the top 2 players being invited back next week for a chance to prove themselves once again. Kicking things off as we usually do in Brazil, it seems we already have a contender for King of the World Walker expansion as Team Hydra's Dudu Denunu picks up their 2nd win in a row, claiming all victories on the patch thus far, this time doing it with Riven Fizz, Bard Galio, and the Ruben Pile. They take the win over a new face this time around in Honest, taking down Bandle Conservatory, Lurk, and the very popular Alawi Jarvan Twisted Fate from the previous week. But the story doesn't stop there. When we head over to Friday's version of EU Fight Night, we find more of the same as Jinden also takes down their 2nd victory in a row, this time doing it with Draven Scion, Thralls, and Bard Zed. And just like in Brazil, they took the win over a newer competitor in Sequoia, who used the triple Demacia menace of Sivir Akshan, Scouts, and Pantheon that we have seen dominate so many fight nights in the past. And now that you know how it all went down, let's talk top 3, because our number 3 deck this week is very much a deck to watch in Bard Galio. Now, Dudu Denunu was able to pilot this deck to a victory at BR Fight Night, but it was otherwise absent from the top cut of either region's Fight Night Legends. What makes this deck so special, and sets it apart from other Bard decks and even potentially other Bard Demacia decks, is the insane finishing power of Galio, who has really been waiting for a deck like this to come along. You see, the Chimes help you to play more go-wide challenger cards and help some of the underutilized Demacia cards like Silverwing Vanguard or Swiftwing Flight really take center stage and have a prominent role in the deck's success, because when you play a Galio on 7, it is pretty much always going to level immediately, and because you are playing it on a board of challengers and hardy challengers that get to stick around thanks to the Chimes, you have a lot of finishing power in that 9 attack monstrosity, who will of course continue to rally, and you're really just looking to end the game the turn on or the turn after Galio comes down, whereas other versions of the Demacia deck can get out late gamed if you're playing Jarvan or Garen. And overall, I've taken a big liking to this deck, as some of the early challengers, even like Petricite Broadwing, get a lot done when you can throw a Chime onto them, and of course you are not sacrificing removal, as Demacia does still have access to things like single combat or concerted strike. Now, this is probably my favorite Demacia deck in a long time, but again, it was only played by Dudu Denunu amongst the top cut competitors. It did go on to have good success in some grassroots tournaments on the weekend, but this is definitely a deck to keep an eye on and check out future iterations of. Now, admittedly, there were not a lot of overlapping decks amongst the top 4 competitors, so this list is, as always, very subjective. My number 2 pick is going to be Draven Scion, which Jinden was able to pilot to a win in Europe, as well as Tomas, who got 3rd place in Europe. In fact, Draven Scion has been a mostly European deck in recent memory, taking astounding numbers at the recent Curious Journey seasonal tournament and continuing to show up in Fight Night Legends for Europe specifically after the release of the World Walker expansion. And it's a cool way to highlight some of the regional differences where Europe is really big in Draven Scion and some of the other regions just really aren't picking up on it. Almost makes me wish we had more international tournaments throughout the year to highlight some of these regional meta differences and see who would come out on the top. But if you're unfamiliar with Draven Scion, it is another deck looking to sort of end the game on turn 7 or turn 8. You play your Scion, your discard mid-range deck, get that Scion leveled on 7, attack, rally. It's a lot like Bard Galio in a lot of ways, if only we still had Challenger on the Twin Blade Revenant, but since that card has been switched to have Fearsome, you are taking a more aggressive approach and using the Scion more as a finisher than rallying after sort of controlling your opponent's board for most of the game. And coming in at number 1, you know we had to pick a deck that's represented in both regions. That's right, everybody. It's Pantheon Yuumi, which got 3rd place in BR as well as 2nd and 4th place in EU. One of the meta titans left over from old that is still absolutely dominating today. It is important to note that it did not win either iteration of Fight Night Legends. Pantheon is by no means unbeatable, and you can always ban it in an event like this if it is that scary to you. But it is one of those pillars of the meta, one of the old guards sticking around from the Curious Journey season and even the seasons before that, that is just continuing to perform well and being a nice fallback deck for players who are still looking to just go all in on that Voltron style of buffing up a Saga Seeker, a Wounded White Flame, a Pantheon, whatever you need to do. There will always be a Zenith Blade deck, it seems, at the top of Legends of Runeterra, and since Lee Sin has moved out of the way, Pantheon has taken that mantle up with absolutely no problem. Now, again, did not win either Fight Night, but this is a deck that we will continue to see rise to the top of tournaments for as long as it exists in its current form, and that is why it is our number 1 pick this week. And now you're all caught up on the GiantSlayerTV cinematic lore for the 2nd week of the World Walker expansion. If you made it this far in the video, you might as well drop a like, a subscription, a comment even, ring the bell icon, stay up to date on all the latest notifications. Boulevard, I don't know what to comment, let me tell you. Tell me what you think of Bard Gallia. This is a deck that I've been very big on. Dudu de Nunu has impressed both in this event as well as other grassroots tournaments, and I want to know, do you think that this is a fad? Is it here to stay? What is the longevity looking like for Bard Gallia? Is this the best Bard deck? Is it not even a top 3 Bard deck? What are we looking at? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, I have been Boulevard for GiantSlayerTV. We'll see you next week to keep you up to date on Fight Night Legends.